Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight and tuning into this very special South Australian Poetry Month showcase. I know I'm very excited, so I hope you all are too. Let's jump right into it. I want to start by acknowledging that I am here from on Kaurna land today, unceded land of Aboriginal people, and it's the land of the red kangaroo. And I also want to acknowledge that I've been raised on this land and Paramount land in the state of South Australia, and that there's lots of you beaming in from kind of all over the country. So if you can take a moment now and maybe pop in the comments where you're coming in from. I want to acknowledge that we are continuing a culture of storytelling that Aboriginal people in this country have had happening for a really long time, and it's been a really large part of their culture. So I want to acknowledge that and pay huge respect to that. And also acknowledge that Writers SA, who are bringing this to you tonight, along with Red Room Poetry, are also located on Kaurna land. And they acknowledge the Kaurna people as the original storytellers of this place. We pay our respects to Kaurna elders past and present, and to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people on whose lands we live, work and create, and any of you here tonight. And I'd also like to acknowledge that this always was and always will be Aboriginal land. So yeah, please pop where you're watching and listening from in the comments. I'd love to hear about where you are in the country. So today is part of a really big month, August, where we've got something poetic happening every day to celebrate Poetry Month. You can go to Red Room Poetry's website to check out everything that we're doing. And we're super excited that tonight's showcase will be the last thing, the icing on top of the cake, if you want to put it that way. So we're super grateful that you've tuned in. We've partnered with Writers SA on this event, and we wish to thank Alicia Herman and Jessica Alice for all the hard work they do to ensure poetry gets into people's minds and pockets throughout South Australia. Writers SA is a super amazing organisation. If you don't know about them already, they are kind of the one-stop shop for everything writing, and they've got lots and lots of workshops on, events, so go check them out as well. So there's a couple housekeeping things I've got to get through. We're going to do some kind of upcoming events and promos at the end of this, after all the poetry, and watch out for that because there's some really exciting stuff coming up. But other than that, don't forget to switch on the closed caption option if you want subtitles to pop up for you. If you need any help with this, please let us know in the chat function below. But one thing to note about closed captions is that if you have them on, there are some videos that also have their own captions. And if you see that your captions are clashing with theirs, because it might happen, you might just want to switch them off so that you don't have trouble reading them, and then switch them back on when the video's over. And again, say so in the chat if none of that makes sense to you. So hello. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad to be here with you all, even though I can't see your faces, which is a strange feeling. My name is Ord Mason Hyde. I use they, them pronouns, and I am a non-binary queer activist and poet from Kaurna land. And I'm so happy to be here tonight because I haven't actually been writing much poetry for a while. And so it means a lot that I still get invited to these events to host them. And I'm just excited to hear other people's poems, particularly poems from people in my state, because it's always nice to hear that. And I think we're hearing less and less poetry in this COVID world that we're living in. So I'm glad you can all be here tonight, and I hope you have an interesting time listening to all these beautiful poems. So our first poet tonight will be Mandy Brown, who is a Paramount and Ngarrindjeri senior woman who has been involved in poetry and short story writing since she was a child. Her involvement with the ATSI literary community is ongoing, and although largely unpublished, her works are in demand for events around NAIDOC and Reconciliation Week, particularly in schools and community events, as a preferred way of communicating and educating the wider community. She is a member of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander SA Writers Group since its inception in 1997, after attending in 1996 the inaugural Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Writers Conference for all written form. Previously, this had only been catered for playwrights, and attends other writing forums, gaining valuable and workshop skills. Please join me in welcoming Mandy Brown.
You watch me in your store, expecting me to pocket something. But I'm not a thief. You follow me in your boutique, assuming I can't afford to look, so perhaps I'll steal instead. But I'm not a thief. At the party your friend brought me, and I can see your uneasiness, in case I decide to look around, maybe casing the joint, invading your home. But I'm not a thief of your space, things, or time. Yet I've watched you steal from me many times. My family, my culture, my privilege, my inheritance. Afraid even now I'll take your established position or remind you to consider past transgressions. But I'm not the thief, remember?
Wow, that was gorgeous. I think I might just like to let us all take a moment to sit with that because it was so beautiful and so much space was left around it. Thank you so much for that, Mandy. I hope you all enjoyed it. I just loved, yeah, the space left around it and how powerful and simple it was. It's gorgeous. Ooh, gave me goosebumps as well, Kelly. Okay, that was gorgeous. Thank you so much. All right, next we will be hearing from Cobby Eckermann. Ali's first collection, Little Bit Long Time, launched her literary career in 2009. In 2013, Ali toured Ireland as Australian Poetry Ambassador and won the Kenneth Slessor Prize and Book of the Year in New South Wales for Ruby Moonlight, a massacre verse novel. In 2014, Ali was the inaugural recipient of the Tunkununka Pintianti Fellowship at Adelaide Writers' Week, and the first Aboriginal Australian writer to attend the International Writing Program at University of Iowa. In 2017, Ali received a Wyndham Campbell Award for Poetry from Yale University, USA. Also, in 2017, she was awarded the Red Room Fellowship. She was awarded a Literature Fellowship by the Australian Council for the Arts in 2018, and in 2019, Ali was awarded a prestigious Civitella Ranieri Fellowship in Italy. Wow, amazing. Here comes Ali.
Eyes. Her eyes stare to challenge her from a plate on the kitchen table. Which eyes will she need for today? The eyes of terror she has thrown away. The eyes of submission are blinded now. She avoids the eyes of shame. Her hand hovers above the plate. Will she choose eyes of wonder or contempt? Will she choose eyes full of compassion? The eyes are watching her eyes that can soothe or sting her tears. She picks the eyes filled with rage.
Wow. Gosh, we're getting a real treat tonight. That was gorgeous. I love the twisting of the concept of eyes, and yeah, I mean, the cinematography was also beautiful. Got some gorgeous videos coming in. So thank you so much for that, Ali. I'd love to hear what people are thinking of these poems in the comments, so please send that through so that we can kind of hear about what you're thinking. That was so beautiful, and I hope that you found it beautiful as well. Okay, now we'll be hearing from a good friend of mine who I've worked with in the past, and I'm very excited to hear about their poetry. So we'll be hearing from Kelly Vincent. Kelly is a writer, theatre maker, policy worker, and disability rights advocate living on Kaurna land in Adelaide, South Australia. They are creative director of True Ability, a disabled persons theatre company, which debuted its first full-length production, Unseen, in 2021. In August 2021, Kelly's first book, Dandelion Heart, a collection of poetry and essays, was published by Debut Books. Kelly is a proud disabled, neurodivergent, and queer person. They love theatre, stories, Pokemon, criminal psychology, and Oxford commas. Please welcome Kelly.
Nina Mani, everybody. Kelly Vincent coming to you. From Garden Country, what always was, always will be Garden Country, with my new poem, Porcelain, to celebrate Poetry Month. Thank you for having me. When you hold me, I am afire with tranquility, skin itching with unfamiliar ease, bones ablaze with a violent peace. At first your hands may try to heal, but just let them learn in time. My broken parts cannot be sealed. I am not porcelain. I am flesh, pulsating in pink, picked up more times than I can think, and dropped when they ran out of uses. So I've learned to make badges out of bruises, satyrs out of scars, like badges of dishonour for the girl who's come so far. The one comfortable in chaos, running from the family name, looking for that place of pathos, where she can be both turbulent and tame. You could be that place, so be patient and beware. Sometimes it could feel like I'm pushing you away, when I'm reaching out to feel you still there. So just lay with me now as I squirm, and watch me learn to land again. And please whisper to my wanderlust, you don't have to be porcelain.
It was a gorgeous poem followed by a brilliant video. I would just like to say, Kelly, that was so beautiful, and I thought the language you used was so visceral and really hit home. So thank you for that. But yes, I have to announce that we are running a book giveaway. If you'd like to win a copy of the stunning anthology titled Guayu for All Times, which Red Room published with Magabala last year, please type hashtag Poetry Month in the comments. We will be drawing a random winner, it is random, and announcing who will be receiving a copy of this book in the post a little later. So if you want that, which I think you should probably want that, maybe pop that in the comments. It's hashtag Poetry Month to get a chance to win. Okay, moving right along to the next person. We're going to hear from Chris Best. Chris Best is a multidisciplinary artist. Originally from the US, Chris is known for his contribution to the Adelaide art scene as the creative artistic director of Soul Lounge, a monthly open mic night unapologetically tailored to the needs of intersectional artists of colour. He has written and performed for SANAA, Rhino Room, Paper Mouth Theatre, Act Now's Theatre of the Global Majority, the South Australian Film Corporation, and the State Theatre. Chris is currently in the process of putting together an art space in the city. Very excited to hear from Chris.
Hello, this is Chris Best reading from Ghana Country. I'll be reading my piece, Reset. Stop for just a second. Stop moving, stop breathing, stop thinking, and just be. Be here. Be present. Practice mindlessness. Now start again, slowly. Step back into life. 1 foot at a time, see what surrounds you. Be with the sights, sounds, scents, and flavors that exist in the spaces you occupy. Experience your world. Reach out. Talk to friends. Talk to strangers. Smile at people for the sake of smiling. Spread joy at the cost of nothing. Open your heart to the possibility that you'll be accepted for all that you are. Cultivate relationships in your life the way a winemaker shapes grapevines. Elevate. Arrange everything in your life in a way that lifts you up. Make time for you. Remind yourself what it feels like to be loved by you. Memorize the shape of that feeling and then remind someone else. You're the only person in your life that you can't replace. Every once in a while, take a moment to stop for just a second. And this
Wow.
is my poem, You. I think you're beautiful. And when I say that, I mean everything beautiful about life is refracted through you. You are the warmth and the rays of sunlight that use my cheek as a dance floor every morning. You are the soreness in my stomach after laughing until my core aches with wholesome joy. You are the tapestry on the wall of my mind where everything good about my best memories is projected. You are the sugar in the frosting of the cupcake that makes up dessert after a meal that could only have been made better by the addition of a cupcake for dessert. You are every reflection on every surface worth noticing, and I am more grateful every day that you are you.
I got scared by the two poems, but that was actually so gorgeous and making me think, actually, that first poem. Very, very easy, even as thoughtful people, I think, to stop stopping, to kind of just keep going and stop being present. So thank you for that reminder in the most beautiful way, Chris. So our next poet is the brilliant Nancy Bates, and we're going to be hearing a song, if I'm not mistaken. Nancy is a Barkindji woman and an accomplished singer-songwriter. Several years ago, she was working and singing under the wings of national treasure Archie Roach as a backing vocalist and guitarist for his wonderful songs and music. Archie Roach rated Nancy as one of the finest singer-songwriters in Australia who deserves to be heard. She tours nationally and internationally as a band member and support act. Nancy's music expresses her love, pain, and humour, which are passionately wrapped in lyrics and melody that leave the listener richer from the experience. Her songs are pure emotion, a gift to the human spirit. Make sure you check out her album, For Your Love. Now, let's hear from Nancy Bates alongside Alara Briggs Patterson, a young Yorta Yorta activist, spoken word poet, and an extraordinary woman. Here they are.
Jack and Jill, they don't have much, no fancy cars, so they catch the bus. Build a little house on a little hill, live off the grid, they don't pay no bills. Grow their own food with their own hands, don't have agendas or big plans. Life is hard, but they are free. Lately I've been wishing that Jack and Jill was you and me. People said they were crazy when they quit their job. They said we can't keep living life by the clock. What is time but a false pretense? It goes so fast, one day we'll all be dead. They said that we just want to be. Lately I've been wishing that Jack and Jill was you and me. I'd like to try to break free, sustain a life away from the noise and no choice of the city. Turn off the TV and just go outside. Sit and watch the clouds or imagine away at the night sky. Jack and Jill, they make love they go to sleep with the setting sun. They plant their seeds according to the moon, and they live life on life's terms, oh yes they do.
That was wonderful. I'm seconding everything in the comments. First of all, the styling of that was excellent, but also just how emotional that made you feel. That was one of the most beautiful songs I've heard in a long time. So thank you for that, Nancy. So alongside tonight's live stream for Poetry Month, across August, the regional team from Writers Essay have been hitting the pavements in Whyalla and Loxton to tag 17 poems by regional South Australian writers for raining poetry in the regions. What's awesome about this is that the poems are tagged directly onto the pavement with rainwork spray that only appears when the poems get wet. I think that's pretty cool. So I hope that kind of gave your imagination something to play with there. So next up, we will be hearing from Shania Richards. Shania has been a participant of the Writers Essay No Limits Young Regional Writers Program throughout 2022, and Writers Essay are delighted to share her work tonight as part of the Poetry Month showcase with Red Room Poetry. No Limits Young Regional Writers supports literary activities in the regions and creates industry pathways for young regional writers from skills to publication. No Limits is supported by Restart Investment to sustain and expand Rise Fund, an Australian government initiative, and Arts South Australia. Very excited to hear from Shania. Here she is.
Feeling my auntie's soul leave her body as I clung onto her, begging God for mercy. In that moment, I was empowered to do everything in my power to save her children, as I failed to rescue her from the clutches of Osiris and Hades. And so I became something no one else could. I became me. I belong to my red dirt country. I belong to the seas of my father's country. I belong to the blood in my veins. I belong to the survivor's DNA. I belong in my family. I belong in my tribes. I belong in the land of the living. I belong to this earth. I belong to the Creator. I belong to me. Growing up, I felt like an alien to this world. I was in love with it, but didn't belong to it. I was in awe of all the wonders within this reality, blinded by the beauty, but obsessed by the endless possibilities. I felt like a proud parent, an ancient god with amnesia, enjoying my creations without the memory of creating it, being so lost and confused. But after making peace, suddenly I realized I belonged. I saw things others never could. I understood like no one else would. I knew secrets only a creator should. That's when the truth hit. I belonged to humanity. I owed it to them to keep them safe, to grow and evolve with love, my love that belonged, and will always last for all time, always stuck in chaos. The screams of the children penetrate my very soul. The agony and betrayal heard for miles, and no matter what I did, it was endless and lasted for eternity. My sister was only 2 and didn't understand that Mum and Dad would fight to the death, so the police took him, and the doctors took away her, and only I was left to protect her and our brothers. Even though I was only 8, I became the best third parent ever. I was easy to feed them, teach them, and educate them. My 3 best friends, my only reason I didn't run away or kill myself. I had to live for them. But for the love of the ancestors, I couldn't get them to stop screaming, crying, and begging for our parents to return. I knew then that I was a kid, raised by kids, raising kids. My people is your people. We are people whose bloodlines come from this earth. Don't listen to the lies of propaganda cries. You're better than that. No need to be scared. I'll hold your hand. We deserve unconditional love. We deserve freedom. We deserve peace. We deserve a beautiful earth to give to our kids and our grannies. You're worthy. You are enough. You are loved. You are abundance. And you are allowed to be yourself. Because we choose to. When grandmother looks at the children, the features of her youth is renewed. A fresh new view with ancient eyes, their laughter only possible from past cries. Never will their past be tainted in lies. O magical goddess of creation, my grandmother, the keeper of our nation, having fought for a king and the legacy within, our blood straight from the roots, may our DNA not be a sin. Thank you, Nana, for planting the seeds that feeds us fruits. My place? Is it my space? Why are we moving in haste? Embrace, trying to chase. I don't even feel like my face. Feeling like a disgrace. Maybe I'm just displaced. Let's retrace. I should be erased. Rewind the dates, no debates, or pearly white gates. Let's see what awaits. That's my place. I thought my place was to save my parents, protect my siblings, honor our culture, and be strong. But I was wrong. My place was to simply be me, enjoying the earth we've inherited. It was never my place to be the second parent, the breadwinner, the high achiever, the black token, the wallflower, the crazy one, or to be silent. My place was an illusion, once shattered, that hard to piece back together. I thought my place was in Kalgoorlie, but it had nothing to offer me. I thought Esperance could save me, but it only confused me. I thought Kimbalda was going to hide me, but I stood out even more. I thought Perth would satisfy my quest for knowledge and knowledge, but it trapped me with toxic love. I thought Bentley would be my sanctuary, but it was compromise. I thought Fremantle would make my dreams come true, but it turned me into my worst nightmare. So I flew back to Port Lincoln after all these years to find myself and my place as the woman I want to become. And suddenly, everything fell into place. And I've been flying to Adelaide ever since I left WA for magical experiences that enhanced my ability to find my place across time and space. Inside me was the place I yearned for, where infinite possibilities flourished, to love myself anywhere, anytime. Always within me, my heart, my place, my me. Does the tippity top of the tree ever wonder about its knobbly knees? Or how about its teeny tiny toes? I suppose you don't reckon it ever sees its nose? Or does it just grow, grow and grow without ever wanting to know? In the darkness, there was only me. Alone with my demons, I kept still. Chaos reigned free all around me until the light burst through my reality and transformed my demons into angels. The light flew low, illuminating the Mother Earth, bringing light, love and knowledge. The light I knew was watching from the bushes and performed a show for me. The light grew and rose. It flew higher and wider until it became a star, looking at me from afar. My light left me on earth, and I was thrown into the darkness once again, until I looked down and saw that it was me all along.
That was excellent. I loved how many different poems we got, and the real range and kind of playing with the form of poetry there from Shania. I also absolutely loved her expression, and the poem about place hit pretty hard, as did the first one. Yeah, that was gorgeous. Thank you so much, Shania. Oh, so Shania came up through a writer's essay program, and I just want to let you know that Writer's Essay deliver a year-round program of events. So that includes workshops, talks, and showcases like tonight. I ran a workshop on Friday, so maybe you'll see my face again. Many of the events are online and others are in Adelaide and regional SA. You can see upcoming Writers SA events on the program tab of the website. I think that Chris Best is running one of these upcoming events because I saw that in the comments. So that's very exciting. If you liked his poetry, you should go check that out on their website. One of these events begins tomorrow, which means there's definitely still time for you to register. So Writers SA's next manuscript incubator program is kicking off tomorrow with facilitator Mark Trevennick. This 4-month supported program is for writers working on a full-length book, including poetry collections. So all those details are on the Writers SA website. So I would recommend going and having a look at that. Wow, we're hearing such amazing poetry tonight. And the next person we're going to hear from is Rachael Mead, who is one of Red Room Poetry's 30 in 30 commissioned poets this year. Rachael is a South Australian novelist and poet with her creative work appearing widely in Australia and internationally. She's the author of the novel The Application of Pressure by Affirm Press 2020 and 4 collections of poetry, including The Flaw in the Pattern. In 2019, she spent a month in the Taleggio Valley in northern Italy on an eco-poetry residency, sounds amazing, awarded by Australian Poetry. She recently won the Barbara Hanrahan Fellowship in the Adelaide Festival Awards for Literature to continue to work on her novel about the first Australian woman in Antarctica, The Art of Breaking Ice, which is due for publication in 2023. Very exciting to be hearing from Rachael. Here she is.
Hello, I'm Rachael Mead. Today's poem is called Stand. 2 years I've lived as if in a cul-de-sac, a flat sun bathing me in cold blue glare, my griefs orbiting like silt-faced moons. Yet in dreams I soar with bar-tailed godwits, guided by gut and stars over the vast blue curve. Manigum, I see you, pale bark, a clean flame licking the night. Please, tall one, tell me how to relish stasis. How do you stand, rooted deep in the loam dark, as life sparks past, the years a Doppler rush of flicker and change under a twirling sky? I try to feel my way into your body, a hard thing dressed in weather, needing nothing but to cradle all these quick lives. This year, my autumnal equinox swung past, decay etching my skin and honeycombing bone. What's it like for aging to be an act of creation? Your hollows house rosellas, koalas wedged between cloud and grass. Wattlebird, lorikeet, honey-eater, all feast on waves of flower froth, ants sipping sweetness beneath hangnail bark. Human lives race towards you and away, by foot, then cart, then car. For you, each day a mere falling mote of light. What's it like to exist like an open door, arms wide? Even as the eucalypt ocean shrinks to islands, you stand, a pacifist in the heart of battle. When you find yourself living in a graveyard packed with monuments to loss, please, old one, can you teach me how not to fall? I wrote that poem coming out of COVID and lockdown and the fires and all of the climate emergency changes that have been wrought over the last few years. And it was my way of, I guess, dealing with grief and trying to find moments of hope among all of the evidence of loss. I live in the Adelaide Hills in a beautiful, very thickly forested area, but still all around me I can see the changes more and more evident with every day. So I wanted to write a poem that speaks back to the landscape around me, that acknowledges that the non-human lives that surround me experience time and space very differently. I wanted to write a poem that acknowledges that the non-human world surrounding me has a great deal to teach me and that I have much to learn. So that brings me to the writing prompt I have for you: to write a poem that addresses the natural world that surrounds you. Choose a species of flora or fauna, a cloud, a rock, an insect, and speak to that life, ask it questions, and be open to the fact that it may have things to teach you about how to cope with the world that we find ourselves living in today. Good luck, and thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Wow, that was gorgeous. Should we all get out our pens and write? No, I'm kidding. But I do think that that's a brilliant prompt. And if you have the time and energy, you should absolutely give it a go. Rachael, I know you're here listening. Thank you so much for that beautiful poem. Just in awe of that. Some really, really stunning writing. I think you commented really well, Kelly, saying aging is an act of creation. Stunning. Yeah, I second that 100% for almost all of that poetry. So thank you so much for that, Rachael. I'm definitely going to check out your work now, and very excited to read your stuff. My dog's coming up to me. So the next thing for me to announce is the competition. So I believe that a random name has been drawn. I hope that a random name has been drawn. Here it is. Yay. So let's see who's going to be receiving a copy. Someone. Susie Walsh. Congratulations. You will be receiving a copy of Guayu for all times in the mail. I hope you adore your new book. Otherwise, well, let's just hope you adore it. I think that maybe there's only one more poetry reading, which I'm really upset about. So I'm going to prolong this by talking to you about Red Room Poetry's Emerging Poets Residency, because it's now open for applications. 2 poets will receive a 1-week stay at Moonrise on the River on Yuin Country, a $1,000 stipend, and up to $1,000 travel assistance. At least one of the 2 places is reserved for an emerging First Nations poet. Emerging is defined as having published 1 full-length collection or less. Applications close 5 p.m. AEST, Tuesday the 13th of September, so get in there now. I can't show you the dog because, to be honest with you, I'm in a dark room and he is a black lab and you won't see him. But Kelly, come here. Let's see if you can see him. Okay, here we go. Gabby, there he is. This is him. He's very cute. So there you go. You got your dog out of me. Okay. Now it is the sad time to hear the last poem. But we will be hearing from the wonderful Cobby Eckermann again, because you can never have enough of her in your life. So here is a second reading for you. Please enjoy.
Key. A girl stands outside grandmother's door. It is painted blue with a speck of gold. She stares and squints her eyes a little. There is a gap along the bottom, a stretched and lipless grimace that breathes in and out and in and out. Some days the respiring air stinks. Footsteps stumble and scuffle the floor. Her ears strain to catch a muffled whisper. Sunlight through the hallway window marks the spot where she stands, on the rim where light and shadow meet. Sometimes she smells the faint hint of smoke, hears the slight crackling of fire. On those days, she hears laughter. Sometimes she recognises the fragrance of storms approaching and stands transfixed, watching water trickle past her toes. Grandmother never invites her inside the room. The creak of bed springs heralds her exit. The little girl never stays to pry. Unconditionally, she waits down the hallway. On exit, grandmother's hand always reaches for hers. In the kitchen, Nana cheers her with biscuits. Their time is sparse like a dying tree. Neither glance at the keyless door, nor expect more from each other. A girl and her grandmother sit in contrast, two kindred spirits swaying their feet, as if in rhythm to an unknown tune. The girl stands at grandmother's door. There is no keyhole to the future and no vision to the past.
Wow. Gosh. All of Ali's poems are just so gorgeous. And it really strikes me how much she talks about perception and, you know, eyes watching and ears listening. And yeah, that was beautiful. Oh, I hate to say it, but that was all of our poetry for the night. I'm sad about it. You're sad about it. And I think this might have been I think it is the last event in Poetry Month, if I'm not mistaken. So even if it's the second to last event, that is sad. But there's so much poetry happening all over SA. So please keep looking for that. And hopefully you've got enough poetry in your life. I think if you're here, you probably have a good amount of poetry in your life. So I would just love to say thank you so much to all of the poets and artists and songwriters who were part of this stellar SA Poetry Month showcase lineup. We had Mandy Brown, Ali Cobby, Eckermann, Kelly Vincent, Chris Best, Nancy Bates, Shania Richards, and Rachael Mead. Big thanks again to SA Writers and Red Room Poetry for presenting these remarkable poets. Thank you for tuning in, and happy Poetry Month.